So heading into 2025, it is going to be Jeff Hafley's second year as the Packers defensive coordinator. And thank goodness no team out there was able to steal him away as head coach. Not that that can't happen in the future, that if the Packers have a top 10, top 5 defense in 2025, it wouldn't be surprising if teams out there decided to bring him in as a potential head coach going into 2026. But I think that clearly anytime you have, you're going into your second year with a play caller, whether it's offense, whether it's defense, I mean, odds are you're going to see some improvement because the players have more so, mastered whatever scheme they're playing in. And I want to take a listen to a short excerpt here from an Evan Williams interview from about 5 days ago posted on the Packers channel. And he's basically asked, how does he think this Packers defense can improve and get better in 2025? And let me just play this real fast. It's like 30 or 40 seconds of Evan Williams giving his thoughts on this Packers defense.
Yeah, I mean, we feel like there's a whole new level that we can tap into, truthfully. We really feel like we're just hitting the tip of the iceberg as far as, our disguise goes, as far as just, implement. You can only put in so much as, year one. You try to get, your basics down, run a lot of that, and then, kind of make a few changes off of that to add to the playbook. But now, having a full offseason with this defense, you could already see that half is, creating some stuff, and, it's already looking to be effective. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel that disguise-wise, we were really good last year, and there's still another step that we can take in that department. But as far as the playbook, I feel like it'll continue to expand, the deeper we get.
All right, so considering last year, the Packers defense, they were the 6th best scoring defense in the NFL. I'd say for a first-year defensive coordinator coming into Green Bay, I don't think you could really ask for more than, the number 6 defense in the NFL. And were they perfect? Were there areas where they could have improved? Yes, specifically their pass rush and getting, more consistent pressure. There's no doubt that's one area where I would like to see a lot of improvement in 2025. But to have that happen your first year, I mean, that's not much more you could ask for. And so it's cool to hear Evan Williams talking about, different ways that Hafley's being able to expand the playbook and create more disguises and things like that. And we know that from the way that people talked when Jeff Hafley came into Green Bay, that one of his greatest qualities is his ability to explain things in a simple way to the players and not make it complicated so that they can go out and play without thinking too much and just play with their instincts. And when you hear these players discuss playing with Hafley, that's something that consistently comes up, is just their ability to go out and play free. And when you think back to the end with Joe Barry as a defensive coordinator in Green Bay, there just seemed to be a ton of miscommunication. And there's probably a lot of different reasons for that. But for whatever reason, Hafley seems to be able to, what he's doing has enabled him to play much faster. And so now I assume that he probably feels like he can add more to their plate because they've already picked up the defense from the first year, whereas last year at this time, they were having to learn his system, learn his scheme, and he was still having to figure out, how to best use every specific player. And now that he has a full year under his belt with these players, and for the most part, it's pretty much the same unit. I mean, minus Jair, who didn't play a lot last year, minus TJ Slayton, who I do think is going to be somewhat of a loss here because of his ability against the run. But this is still a defense that hasn't really lost a ton of pieces. And so when you think about some of the rookies from last year, Evan Williams, Edgerrin Cooper, you think about, if Nate Hobbs can stay healthy, the Packers secondary, I think, should be better. If you look at the games that Jair wasn't there, because when Jair was there, the secondary was better. You can look at the passer rating allowed. Can't remember the exact numbers right now, but the Packers defense was definitely better with Jair playing. But if you get a fully healthy Nate Hobbs all season long, then I think for the most part, the secondary overall, based on the Jair Alexander injuries last year, should be overall better. And so that's one thing that's just, I think, always exciting when you have a solid unit in the first year with a coordinator. Going into the next year, I think that, you could expect to see a lot of improvement just because all these guys already understand what it is Hafley is wanting them to do. And so they'll probably be able to go deeper, create some more complex disguises. It sort of sounded like what Evan Williams was talking about. And so considering the Packers defense last year, 6th best scoring defense in the league, I do think this defense has the capability to be, a top 3 defense. I think they could get to that level if they play their best football. And we saw last year they forced a ton of turnovers, which clearly helps. And when you look at the playoff game against the Eagles where the Packers lost, it wasn't a, dominant performance from the defense. They allowed 22 points. It could have been 29 if, Barkley didn't break away or didn't decide to get down when he had a full-on road to the end zone. It could have been more. And the run defense didn't really play great. I think the Packers defense allowed about 5 or so yards a carry. But the secondary, they held the Eagles passing attack to maybe like 130 or 150 receiving yards. And Jalen Hurts was efficient, like 13 of 21, but it's not like he tore them apart with his arm. So that was without Jair Alexander. That was with Carrington Valentine, Keyshawn Nixon, and so now I think there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic for what this defense can do in Jeff Hafley's second year. So if you want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys next time.